Okay, we're live. Now, do we have audio? Go to my channel, find the live stream, live stream, and we have audio. Yippee. So nobody knows what I was talking about. I guess that's good. I start again. I've really had a rough couple of weeks emotionally. Um, I've been terribly alone. Um, Cut off from Facebook. um, Local friends. I have local friends I can't contact any other way than Facebook and like, okay, we're gonna meet in the street or what's going on, kind of stuff. I don't have their phone numbers. I had some, but I lost them in my phone. So I got those from Ariane this morning. Um, so while I'm dealing with all of this, like me alone, um, there's this steady stream in the news of all this awful shit happening to transgender and queer people all over the fucking world. Uh, it's just all. I don't know how to describe it. There's so much of it everywhere. And something in Pakistan where a trans, I don't know. They're just killing them. They kill them and then mutilate the bodies. Um, there was a story of a guy, a queer cis guy in Chechnya that was outed, that had to flee Chechnya. That was kind of one of the higher points. I've been on the verge of tears all week. Not water today. You might see some smoothie on my lips. Anyway, there's just so much different stuff going on with the Supreme Court discussions. And the town hall. That was wild. One of our local mama bears, Lisette Trujillo, was a kind of a focal point in a disruptive moment when she handed the mic off to a protester who was not scheduled to speak. Anyway, what got to me tonight, just now, and I'm not going to stay long because it's just Saturday. I need to warm up the horn and get on the street. The bus is about 8 o'clock. There's a post by Sophie LaBelle. Let's see. Here, the queer community, the LGBT rainbow advocacy, I think rainbow groups, the rainbow, that's probably the queer still gets people unsettled. And LGBT, I hate saying it. So in the rainbow political arena, the main focus is in two areas right now, because mostly all the other fights have been won. Marriage equality and things like that. And there's ongoing, AIDS awareness, education, prevention, and stuff. But in the political area, the main focus is on the Equality Act and getting all the laws amended so that they clearly include sexual orientation and gender identity. We've been skating along all these years on interpretations by the courts, including that in sex discrimination, and that's the crux of what's going on in the Supreme Court with these 3 cases right now, is whether or not that's going to hold up. It's like, can they have these exclusions or not? And it's not clear which way it's going to go. I still say watch Gorsuch. He was open to reason, but he was like concerned about the social upheaval, which is like, why is people, where is it coming from? Well, it's coming from the Catholic Church, is where it's coming from. And it's filtering down through the Protestant evangelicals and all of their hate groups. You want to go with them, go with them. But the majority of the people I know of, if they're not queer, they wish people wouldn't hate on queers for no good reason. So here's Sophie talking about death threats she's been getting from some idiot. Oh no, this poster. She's been getting death threats because of the poster. And the poster says, don't pretend you have logical reasons to be against letting trans kids transition. Oh, I didn't finish what I was saying. The focuses. The second focus is on age-appropriate, medically accurate, LGBTQ inclusive sex education curriculum. And this is where the death threats are coming from. This is the reason she's getting death threats from this poster. This is where the big battles are being fought, is in the fucking school boards all over the country. And they're running people for school board and city councils and stuff like that all over the place that are anti-LGBT, that are looking to get religious discrimination made legal. That's what they're looking for. And her poster says, don't pretend you have logical reasons to be against letting trans kids transition. No one is too young to transition. You're just against the existence of trans people. And that's really where it's at. I mean, what the fuck? I say over and over and over again, you know, we're a portion of, okay, most people are born cisgender and heterosexual. This is, okay, the majority. We cop to that. But we're born this way. People are born same-sex attracted. There's genetic connections to all this. People are born with transgender feelings. There's genetic connections to all this that they're uncovering. You know, it's not real clear yet, but they're uncovering it little by little. And the clinical studies are very clear that when you deny a person's expressed gender and they're persistent, insistent, and consistent in that expression, you will cause behavioral health issues. It's undeniable. When a transgender person is supported and encouraged to be themselves, and that's all it is to be ourselves, especially in the kids, because they're not doing anything to kids before they're 11. They have to enter Tanner stage 1 puberty before they do anything chemically to the children. And it's only very rare cases that there's any surgery on minors. Very, very rare. Emily Tressa is like a landmark case, and there's a lot of argument over whether they should have, whether she should have had access to the surgery or not at that age. And she was only a couple of months under 18. It just was a convenient time to do it. She graduated high school, and it was the beginning of summer vacation. She did it. So anyway, here in the comments, this is why I wanted to go live and read this, because this is parents. This is the parents of trans kids. Here's one that says, it's a parent of a trans kid who basically told us as soon as they could talk, I love you for speaking out and bringing awareness to this. It hurts to know that you have to suffer the ignorance of the closed-minded. But you're an amazing, strong, and resilient person to keep doing what you're doing. Sending all the love we have your way. You know, why here's some, I'm so sorry that anyone thinks themselves important enough to threaten your life. What is the threat for her stating this? No, what is the threat to you for transgender people being themselves? Here's a quote: kids under 10 shouldn't transition. They're too young to be blah, blah, blah. Family transition that young is just a haircut and new clothes and maybe a cute new nickname. Stop making it weird. What the fuck? Your kids, let them be happy. And really, this is where like most progressive people are today. It's like, okay, well, if my boy doesn't want to be fucking masculine, fine, I'll get a 222. Or if the girl doesn't want to be fine, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Just let them be. Let them be happy. Don't force them to be something that they don't want to be, or you're going to have behavioral health issues on your hands. Here's an interesting one too. My 14-year-old just got out of residential care because we were having such a hard time getting it even getting into the single gender clinic available for people under 18. We've been on a waiting list for over a year, and access to just about any assistance in transitioning is like trying to find a real freaking unicorn. The comment section of the original post makes me want to vomit. I probably should go look at the original post. It's a little minefield of trolls fantasizing about children being on hormones. It's all been the doctors. They don't know. They think it's the parents making the kids trans. And it's been the doctors saying, just leave the kid alone. It started about the mid-90s. Yeah, here's a right-on comment. I think a major part of the problem is that way too many people think transitioning is always medical. They don't realize that a large part of transitioning for most trans people, and the only part for young children, is social transitioning. That's pretty true for me. All I did was shave off my beard and stop pretending to be a guy. And then the hormones. I'm the same person I've always been. I think that's why the trolls are getting bored. This is how I've been since I was a little kid. I'm here to educate and entertain. That's it. I got no other reason for being, and all I want back is more education and entertainment. There's just no. I see nothing to get too serious about in this world, unless you're paying real well. And nobody's wanted to pay me real well in a long time. But this is true. If a child is old enough to realize that their gender when it matches their assigned gender, they're old enough to realize their gender when it doesn't match. And the facts that I've seen from numerous parents is that as soon as a kid opens their mouth, they're saying that they're the other gender. I better check and see on the comments, see what's going on here. Queer theory politics is getting pretty queer. The radicals are just not. They're not respecting the cis majority. The cishet majority. There's too much cisphobia and straight bashing. The youngest person to get surgery so far has been Kim Petras at 16. And I think there's somebody that's a little bit, maybe a couple of months younger than her that has also had surgery, maybe one or two. All most of us want is not to be discriminated against for being queer. That's all. That's all. And like, where's the theory there? It's like, okay, I'm not cisgender. I don't even know what to call myself as far as my sexual orientation, because that's so weird. But I'm not cisgender. and I shouldn't have to be stigmatized for not being cisgender. And I'm very grateful to be in Tucson because I'm not stigmatized very much or very often for not being cisgender. Most people are. Just it feels good to be myself and be accepted, and yeah, well, see, they get there's a lot of internalized transphobia, and a whole lot of trannier than now stuff that goes on. That's people are what they are, and it really boils down to, like, how do you want to dress yourself, and how do you want to play, and this is who I am. Then this is where the middle ground that people are finding. I'm meeting more and more straight people who are allies, have queers in the family usually, and they introduce themselves as, "Hi, I'm so and so, and my pronouns are he, her, he, him," or and that's where the middle ground is. Is that just people need, and this is where the hippies were always at. Is that you come into a circle, you say, "Hi, this is me, this is what I'm about," and everybody's like, "Okay, cool." And if you're cool, everybody's nice to you. And uh and that's what needs to be now. It's like, and in Tucson it's like that. It's like you introduce yourself, and I identify as whatever, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and then they respect it. There's no argument, no discussion. Hardly anybody wanted a backstory. When I first came out, I was like, "Okay, fine." But the only thing I had to correct anybody about was that it's not the only choice I made was to stop pretending to be something that I wasn't. But this is the way it should be, and it's not. It's just not in too many places. It's not. God, I've seen some horrible news from so many. I don't even know where to start. I don't even want to go looking for it. It just is. I had me on the edge of tears the last 2 weeks. Just so much horrible news about queer people. It just keeps getting weirder and weirder in the White House. God, he was on a Twitter rampage today. Spirit tells me to just tune out the haters. They don't exist. Don't let them into your world. Just protect yourself from them if you have to, but don't let them into your world. Don't accept the victim. Don't accept being their victim. I don't see it here. I just don't. I don't hear it. I don't hear it on the breeze. If I'm in a crowd listening to people chatting, and I don't have it coming into my face. Thank God. You know what? I think I'm about spoke out. And like I said, I need to warm up the horn and get out on the street. So I'm gonna play a little bit and then quit. If you're wondering whether I'm smoking a joint or a cigarette, you can always tell the difference by whether I blow it right out or I hold it in. And that's usually an after joint hit kind of cough. Hello. I don't know what's wrong with this person's eyes. They're saying I'm playing the horn out of the side of my mouth. I don't. I play the recorder out the side of my mouth. I don't like the tone playing the classical just over it. Somebody was saying that he never saw a sax player mess with the reeds as much as I do. He probably hasn't, but he probably also hasn't seen any sax players warming up their horns or breaking in reeds. She just doesn't have it up on top. Try a fresh one. Keep this one aside because it's almost there. Transgender healing. Hi there. Welcome. Are you a transgender person healing? Or are you a person who heals transgender people, or neither? thought for a minute your name was a comment. Oh, okay, that's their name. This one might be too hard. No. That thing needs trimming. Part's too wide. This is what you don't see when you go see somebody play a horn in a real show. It's this part of fucking around with them. You have to pull it out of the case and start playing. It's just not that easy. And not all the reeds were going to work right. A box of reeds, you got to go through them. I don't know about the Bible itself, but I'll get the link for you in a minute. There's 6 genders. There's almost 2,000 references to 6 different genders in Hebrew, ancient Hebrew scripture. But I don't know if there's any in the canonized books. I don't know. I'm not speaking for the guy. I know better. Ooh, this one sounds hot. I've also noticed me messing with the position of the mouthpiece too. I don't see too many horn players taking much time to really keep their intonation tight. And the horn changes temperatures, the intonation will change. Still don't like that. It's better. It gets warm and it gets sharp. Ha. Maybe later. I'm kind of inbred. Never mind. Well, it just doesn't want to go up there. The heart feels like it's not going all the way to the tip. This street probably needs to be, I feel trimming need on this one too. Too bad. That one's like a total reject. You know, someone's making the remark that shitty artisans blame their tools. I don't know that there's that much truth to that. I mean, that's one excuse. But there are instances when, especially with a musical instrument, where an issue with the instrument will prevent it from playing properly. The soprano saxes are very, very temperamental. And the reed has to be just right, or it's not going to get all the way up to the top. It has to be right on pitch, or it's not going to get up there either. This one feels like it's going to be too soft. This one will get up there. You got authority on what? So you're an authority on what? And let's see what Deuteronomy 10:17. That doesn't sound familiar. So I don't recall ever seeing anything in the Bible about he never plays favorites and never takes bribe. The six gender, the link to the six genders thing. 8 genders of the Talmud, 6 genders. What? Here's the one that's I'm about to. I was just getting the link for the discussion about the six genders in classical Judaism. And we're looking for Deuteronomy 10:17. Was that it? Yeah. I use the Mechon Mamre site for Old Testament, and then just whatever comes up for the New Testament on other sites. I prefer the NIV translation, but for any New Testament, Old Testament, this is the only site I trust. Yeah, I don't recall any line in the Bible about him not taking any bribes or playing favorites. Okay, it's chapter 10. We'll pick this up at verse 12. And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep for thy good the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day. Behold, unto the Lord thy God belongeth the heaven and the heaven of heavens, the earth, and with all that therein is. Boy, this is some really crappy translation, obsolete English. Only the Lord had a delight in your fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For the Lord your God, he is the God of gods and the Lord of lords, the great God, the mighty and the awful, who regardeth not persons nor taketh reward. He does execute justice for the fatherless and widow, and loves the stranger, in giving him food and raiment. Love ye therefore the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. You will fear the Lord your God, him you shall serve, and to him, God, this is just awful English. I didn't realize it was like this bad. And his name shall swear. He's like, yeah, it's like, that's not a mention of gender, though. That's just being kind to strangers. Well, the way I see it is the creator made it all. Um, yeah, right. You know, it's all about what's in your heart. Um, you know, that everything has a purpose, everything has a reason for being. And I really don't think that God created queers so that straight people could hate them. I think there's something more to it. There's a lot more to it. You know, two-spirit people had a very clear role in indigenous societies as a, you know, having some being like an auntie and having that extra strength on the home front in case of a problem there. I better check on the bus schedule. I don't, like I said, I don't want to speak for the master. And Isaiah had some interesting, I forget exactly what it was, had interesting things to say about people and the way they interacted with each other and what was pleasing to God and what wasn't. Well, see that's I'm not a Bible literalist. Um, it's thousands of year old document that has been translated numerous times. So I don't take any of it literally. We were trained to, our rabbis taught us to see what was true and enduring and learn from that. What take the moral um, teachings from the various stories, but um, the stories themselves, most of them, all of them, before the Exodus, are just had been in the oral tradition for way too long, and couldn't be counted on as being accurate. And well, see, I believe that the God you speak of is a demigod. That is not the universal creator you're speaking of, and that individual um, has had a hand in the course of civilization on this planet forever. The Urantia book. I'm raised in the Hebrew tradition. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I'm born to the clan Kohen for the clan Gershon of the tribe Levi in the house of Israel. That's Moses and Aaron's son. My ancestors wrote those books, man. My ancestors wrote those books, man. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Judaism is something else. Judaism is not what those books intended. I don't think. I don't. Um, Rabbi, I was raised in the Reformed tradition when it was still called the Union of American Hebrew Congregations. Judaism is something that's perverted by Zionism. Judaism is a corruption of the Hebrew faith, and has been for a long time. Always has been a problem that Torah law and Judaism are at odds with each other, and the Jews have always been a problem for the rest of Israel because of their failure to uphold the commandments and the punishment that the universe meted out on all of Israel because of it. Jew has always been a pejorative term since the Babylonian exile. The Khazarian conversion in the 9th century made it even worse. So those people apparently didn't give up their Babylonian sex magic. No, you're oversimplifying, and I feel like you're trolling. Why don't you give me some of your qualifications? Yeah, I have very little tolerance for trolls. It's not correct. Judaism, I'm very much opposed. I'm very much opposed to the entire Zionist project in occupied Palestine. The Hebrew faith, as I understand it, is based on the notion that God is one, and that we must love God in everything within range of our senses, and that's the core. That's the essence of the faith. And then there's a few rules, standard rules, but then you got all this other stuff going on Talmudic conversation and justifications for all kinds of um, ethically unsound behavior. Okay, you got ethically unsound behavior. And I don't really even know how to point you to somebody who's being who's upholding the faith and who's not. Israel does not. Israel is wrong. The state of Israel is totally wrong from its conception, and its entire state of being is wrong. It shouldn't be. It's not. It's not Jewish. I mean, it's not what's properly Hebrew behavior that violates the core principles of the Hebrew faith. My understanding is that in ancient time, the sex gender binary was not so strictly adhered to. It wasn't such a big deal. I don't think there's any references of anybody really speaking out. I mean, there's some talk of eunuchs and such, but in any of the canonized books, I really can't think of anything that specifically references anything other than eunuchs. There's a lot of stuff that's interpreted. I'm not a Bible scholar by any stretch at all. There's that what is it? Well, I forget the numbers that say about man lying with a woman, man. Yeah, that somebody that was more familiar with Quran, because we were talking about how in Iran there's a lot of people getting transgender gender confirmation surgery. A lot of gay men just getting their penises inverted so that they can have like sex with their partners in a way that's acceptable to the Islamic State. that the anal sex was what they were outlawing. Going, if the Christians, and get back to square one on this broadcast, is if the Christians get their way, they're going to make all that illegal. They want to make they want to even outlaw interracial marriages. They're just the mighty white people, and it's hard. You can want to understand it all you like, and it's I can't comprehend it. I don't know. I can't. I just can't picture myself hating anything the way these people hate things. I just don't see it, and I'm really gonna cut out, I think. But I hope you come back. Sorry, I felt I was being trolled, but it was just the way you were questioning me. But your answer to my question made a lot of sense. And obviously not trolling. But I got to get out to the street. The bus is in an hour or so, and I got to go make some money with my horn. So thanks for coming. Happy day. Bye bye.